grind culture is not cool. You know, success culture is.
Every day you're having fireballs thrown at you.
You're so tired that just raw emotion just comes out of you for no reason.
When I left, the world was on fire.
Because if you're just constantly in fight, you're going to eventually crumble.
Let's jump back in here. We're just discussing our...
Wait, where are we?
What do you mean, where are we?
Obsession Required, man. Come on.
Welcome back to the Obsession Required podcast.
Here we are.
Man, John's not obsessed with this podcast.
Man, I'm excited. I'm excited. This is a topic that I think is really important for any entrepreneur, any executive, or anybody in that startup phase. I mean, we are in a culture, this grind culture, where we glorify grinding all the time. And I think a lot of this show has to be about Obsession Required. But is there a point of diminishing returns? What is that? And what does executive, entrepreneurial, startup burnout look like? And how do you cope with it? Because that's something that's one of the reasons I wanted to start this podcast with you guys, because it's one of these situations that I was in where I was really burning every end of that candle.
Oh, this is 100% burnout therapy for me.
Yeah.
Avoiding it. I mean, you think about the stresses of either whether you're a CEO, whether you're in a startup, you're just a full-fledged entrepreneur building your business, the nonstop. Every day you're having fireballs thrown at you.
Yeah.
And it does not matter. It doesn't stop. And the goal is always to be, become that kind of Teflon man, I would say, to where, every time you're getting a hard problem thrown at you, it just becomes easier to deal with every time that comes at you, and you become calmer as you go through it. But with all that, there's that stress and that burnout that you run into the whole time, because it's a constant grind, and getting through that's extremely tough. And I'm glad you brought this subject up, because it's it's definitely one I've been going through, and where do I get my mind to be able to jump out of it?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, looking at social media, I mean, you and I are pretty dialed in the athletic world. And I think a lot of that same kind of algorithm on social media translates to the entrepreneurial world as well. And sometimes you need that mindless break where you find yourself doom scrolling for like 15 minutes just because you want a break from the crazy wildfire you're fighting at work or something. And then you get on your phone, and it's David Goggins. What are you doing today? I'm running 5,000 miles.
Who's going to carry the boats?
Who's going to carry the boats? Yeah. And then it's like Kevin O'Leary talking, and it's whoever else you're following along the way, and it's like, well, shit, man, like I suck. I should be doing more. And like,
you're a bitch.
Yeah, basically, yeah. And so your 15-minute mindless scroll just to take your mind off of what you're doing for a second turns into basically condemnation that you're not doing enough. And you're like, and so there's never any break. And then so then you sign up for like fun activities with your friends, and you end up like, obsessing over Obsession Required, obsessing over an athletic event. Yeah. And then so like your rest becomes, like, man, I'm going to be able to take a break today. I'm running 15 miles. But no, that's not a break either. Yeah. I think that's just indicative of our mindset.
I haven't got there yet. When I think about taking that break, it's more like I can run to the kitchen.
But I would also say, John, to that the focus on, yourself and your fitness, in a way, for me, that is my break. That's how I cope with everything that I have going on.
Yeah, but you're running spreadsheets, you're running High Rocks results, you're looking at programming. So in a way, it turns into another job.
It does. It 100% is another job, but I think for me that I have such a passion for that's my break.
Okay.
And I would say that, kind of like what you guys said, like everybody, it's not if you're going to burn out, it's when you're going to burn out, and how do you prepare yourself to handle for that. And for me specifically, like mine is going to the gym and focusing on something other than my business that I have a passion for. That, yes, is there more work required, but it settles me. I can focus on that, and in a way, when I'm working out and when I'm focusing on High Rocks and I'm building these spreadsheets and everything, it just brings this sort of peace to me of like, okay, cool, I have this stuff going on in my business. Is this related to it? 100%. But I have such a passion for it that when I hit on that run, or I'm working and I'm still processing all these things, just puts me at ease.
Well, I think one of the problems, though, is that we run into, though, is recognizing that you're actually in burnout.
That's true.
And that's a hard thing to tell yourself, man, am I actually burning out? Because, man, I'm go. And, you know, your go really becomes, I'm going, you know, because you're actually don't have that energy. You're not getting the proper rest. You're not getting the, you know, whether it's the proper nutrition, you know, your mind getting that break that it needs. So, you know, I think that number one thing is just recognizing the fact that you may be in burnout.
So what was your aha moment? Because I know you just got back from Europe, which is really cool.
First trip to Europe.
First trip to Europe. And it was absolutely amazing. I mean, we went to Italy and Spain, and we'll get into that later. But, you know, what
was the first time you needed a break?
About 28 years ago. You know, me recognizing when I was burning out, it was, I didn't really notice it at first. I got to where I felt the brain fog catching up on me though. And, you know, and then I was like, and do I really need to get up and go to the gym today? I may need to take a break. And I couldn't do that though. I was like, no, I need to go to the gym. It was that fight my mind. It's kind of like, you know, with the cold plunging, you know, I don't need to do this today. You know, my body can take a break. I'm tired. And it, you know, mine was pushed through it. But when I realized I got away from it, that's when I actually realized I needed the break. It wasn't until I was on the break to realize I needed that break.
Interesting.
Because, you know, I thought I could continue to just push through it because that's what I've always done. I've never stepped back from it to say, okay, hey man, I need to check out for a minute. I just constantly push through it. You know, it's because it's there. Yeah. You know, our problems don't leave. You know, mine ended up being, I had confidence in my team to take this break right now in my life. You know, we took 18 days off. 18 days is you know, for 35 years I've done this. I think the most I've taken is 7. Mm-hmm. And this time it was you know, let's go, and got over to Europe and just completely unhooked. I mean, I think I took maybe 5 phone calls that were true, you know, maybe 911 calls that I was like, oh, hey, yeah, okay, I can help you out with this problem. Yeah. And, but I didn't realize it, like I said, until I was there. Yeah. And then I got home and I was like, man, it wasn't the chaos I really thought I was going to be walking back into. I just, you know, I thought I'm not there. The world's going to be burning down. It wasn't that experience, man. It was, I'm not there. I got a great fucking team. They just completely ran my company for me while I was gone.
And how good is that to know that you've got the right people in place?
Man,
does that feel good?
I mean, I walked into the office yesterday and I was like, high five. And they're like, what's wrong with you? I'm like, guys, you guys were awesome while I was gone. Because when I left, the world was on fire.
Yeah.
I mean, I had some things going on business-wise that was, you know, I'm getting a phone call from my sister who's our controller, and she calls me up and she's like, hey, I've got, I'm not calling to wish you happy vacation that you're about to start. You know, there was a fire today. Literal fire.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. And in one of our shops, we had an electrical panel that had shorted out, caught on fire, you know, fried a whole wall. I'm lucky the whole shop didn't burn. I'm looking at the pictures and I'm like, how is there even a building still standing? It should have all burned to the ground because it happened at night when nobody was there. Man. And, you know, and I was just like, man, I said, y'all deal with it. Handle it how you need to handle it. You know, the protocols, processes we have in place. And I get home and I get out there and I'm like, oh, nothing happened. You know, so it was a very humbling and very gratifying experience to know that you got I've got such a quality team in place to be able to handle, you know, the chaos when you leave.
And if you got the right people in place, I mean, you know, you truly have to let them do what they're going to do. I mean, that's the whole point of having great staff. And, you know, there are times I step away from my business and I worry about what's going to happen. And then I come home and I'm pleasantly surprised like you were. And you're like, you know what? Yeah, I still need to be on this, but it builds that confidence in your team where you're able to step away a little bit more. Because ultimately at the end of the day, you're paying these people, you know, salaries, right? Yeah. And if you can't trust them to make sure the place doesn't burn down,
Literally.
why the hell?
Literally.
Why the hell are you paying them?
Yeah.
Right. And so it always makes me smile when I come home. They're like, yeah, we did you well. Nothing burned down. The family's still alive. I'm like, that's awesome.
Yeah.
It confirms the choices and decisions I made to hire the people and work with these people. How about you? What's your sign of burnout? Do you have one?
So like
Your heart exploding?
my heart exploding could be it.
Yeah, that might be one.
So this is gonna sound like kind of weird, but like I would say that I'm always in fight or flight, but I'm never really flight. I'm always in fight. It's just kind of how my brain chemistry, how I am at work.
100%. I know that
So
feeling.
100%, I'm always in fight.
Yeah.
But my sign for burnout is whenever I know mentally that I start to sway. So that's if some sort of self-doubt or negativity slips into my mind, which I fight off. That's when I'm like, I need to step back. I'm like, because I'm not a negative person. I don't have negative thoughts about myself, my capabilities, or what I am doing. But when a sliver of self-doubt comes in, I step back because I know that that's when I am physically and mentally at burnout. Probably haven't slept. I'm not eating well. I'm overworked, and I need to take a break. And
that's the chance for the devil to talk to you.
Oh, absolutely. And that's why I step back is because the second that negativity can like come in, it's like a plague. It'll wipe you out.
Yes.
And the second that thought starts hitting my head or I have self-doubt, I'll go to my wife. I'm like, I need to step back for a second. I need to decompress. And that's just my sign because you have to fight off the negativity because there's nothing easy about what the three of us do. And like you said, we're always in fight. And if you recognize that you're slipping mentally, that can ruin really good things that you have going on. Mm-hmm. So that's when I step back. And it took me a while to learn that because I would just fight through it. But what I found out is I just ended up digging myself in more and more of this mental hole that I had to come out of. So now it's almost instantaneous. Negativity hits and I step away.
And that's what we're trying to, exactly if you bringing this subject up, is figure out how to recognize that in yourself. What are the signs you have to look for to know, oh, crap, this is what burnout starts as, because once you've burned out, a lot of time, like you said, that negativity starts creeping in and then it just starts snowballing.
Absolutely.
And it becomes a bigger problem. And then what's the easiest thing for you to do at that point? Quit.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Quitting is the easiest thing to do because then you can just be like, oh, all that pressure's off. I don't have to worry about it anymore.
You know what my sign is? And I'm not afraid to admit this.
What's up?
Spontaneous crying. Like when I am something, whether it be a song, a sunset, or whatever, I'm not sobbing hysterically, but like I start tearing up.
He does that when he does wall balls.
Yeah. Oh, I know. I've seen it. It's actually real. I was waiting for somebody to say it, and you took it, man. You got me. You got me for that one.
Yeah. Well, screw you guys. No, seriously, like when we build these walls around ourselves as men that protects us from all this stuff, and if we're not strong enough to hold those walls up at some point, which probably is not healthy to start, but that's just what guys do. And then the weird raw emotions start coming out. That's when I know I've truly hit burnout. Like when it's just like, yeah. And then, about 6, maybe 7, 8 months ago, my wife was on the kitchen floor and she had her yoga mat out and she was like doing some stretches and she was just kind of just laying there on the floor, just arms out, just kind of just grounding herself. And I walked into the kitchen and in my mind, I'm like, oh shit, she fucking died. Holy shit. And I went running over and she's like, what's wrong with you? And I'm like, and I literally lost it. Now, one, I lost it because my wife wasn't dead on the kitchen floor, but also like, it was like, okay, this is uncontrollable. And that's actually when I called you. I'm like, I am so burnt out. Like I'm having an emotional breakdown here and there's no reason for it. There's no reason why I would have been, but it's just from years of grinding and from problems and fighting fires. So you're so tired that just raw emotion just comes out of you for no reason. And, it's, like I said, I'm not too proud enough to admit it. Like, I don't believe in the whole, like, or I believe in, I subscribe to like the men don't cry thing. Like, I don't think men should be walking around crying, but at some point it's okay. And that's usually your sign that you need a break.
Well, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, the important part though is one, when you recognized it, two, you had somebody to call.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And say, dude, I hit a wall. What do I need to do? How do I need to, step back from this to refocus? Because when it's all said and done, it's just about getting refocused and positioning back to get, where's true north again, and finding that area that you need to head to. And if people can figure that out, that they've always got to have that, whether it's an accountability partner or it's just a, that friend or that partner to mentor to call up and be like, hey, boss, man, it's tough right now, and I'm not negative about what I'm going through. I just need to hear how to get through it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And a lot of times just to get through it is taking a step back.
Yeah,
and
100%.
Like you said, and you just went to Europe. That brings up, I leave just soon for Barcelona, and we could work abroad. We could work from anywhere as long as we have Wi-Fi. And so that's what we're choosing to do. And we're going over there with my son and all of that. But having that just even change of environment, just different ways of thinking, a different, we work from home, right? So like having a different house to be in,
different setting,
different settings, and just changing what that energy is like, and also being +7 on the United States, right? We're at 7 hours ahead. I could send emails and get things done, have that time for myself that I've not been able to have. And basically, as long as we're a day ahead, that's giving me that opportunity to spend time with my family, with my child, things that really matter. But also giving myself time to decompress, a completely different atmosphere. I found a High Rocks affiliate gym that's like within, I think it's 8 blocks of my apartment.
With wall balls?
With wall balls. And I guarantee you.
Hope.
Hey, listen, I'm American, my wall balls comparing them Spaniards. No. But I'm excited, and that's what you got to do. And you took that leap. And I think if your team continues to prove that they're able to keep, the ship afloat, I'm not suggesting ever taking your foot off the pedal, but at some point you need to be able to rely on, for us, we have a $1 million payroll plus, right?
Yeah.
We're spending a lot of money on payroll.
Not there yet, but keep going.
But you understand what I'm saying? You're spending this money, this proportional money. You're probably spending the equivalent to $1 million based upon your revenue. Same thing, you're probably spending way more than me, right? But you're spending all that money. If you can't trust your employees, what the hell are you doing paying them?
Agreed. And that's that thing. And for me, you talk about taking that foot off the pedal. Now I went the opposite direction. I'm sitting here going, oh, hell yeah. These guys are doing great. It's time to go to that next level. I'm like, we can put the pedal down all the way now.
But what that tells me is like the next level for me that I've realized over the last year after hiring this great team that we have. We just hired another guy, started Monday. We hired another guy yesterday, starts next Monday. Is the ability as the leader of the company to take a step back even further, but then put the pedal to the metal in a new lane, in a visionary lane, in a place where you're able to get out of the business. Instead of working in the business, you're now working on the business. And that's something that's so hard for entrepreneurs to actually do, or CEOs, to get out of that nitty gritty. But just taking that step back to go on vacation proves your team can handle it. And now you're able to get into the next lane, the passing lane, and really hammer down and tell the people behind you, like tell the convoy what's coming ahead, where we're going, et cetera, I think is so important.
And one thing I learned, there aren't passing lanes in Italy. And I don't know what it is about over there. We were centrally located to everything.
Where in Italy were you?
We were in Umbria was the region we were in, and I'll say this, I'll butcher it, but the village we were staying in was called Faculi. And it was awesome. It's just
it's probably a Fashuli, not a fuck you.
Wow. But I could literally walk to the village faster than I could drive to the village because there's no straight line to get anywhere there. Everything was, curves. It's 35 miles away. It's an hour and a half drive.
Yeah.
And you're on 2-lane roads that are not 2 lanes. You're borrowing everybody's lane as you go around.
Well, that's why they have small cars.
Oh, they're tiny.
But I love renting cars over there. Here's the one thing that America should adopt, but I literally watch idiots screwed up every day. Roundabouts. No more stoplights. Did you like the roundabouts? I love them. I'm over there all the time. So I'm just,
yeah, it worked. I mean, it worked over there. It was, I mean, we're getting more and more of them here as we go along, but we probably don't have enough of them because nobody's used to it. We haven't mastered it. Over there, they've mastered the roundabout. In Rome, I've never seen somebody. All I'm thinking about was I'm opening a body shop here. Yeah, these guys are so close to each other. I'm like, they get right there, and then it's like, okay, you go.
Yeah,
dude.
So my family, when I was over in, we were in Florence, so not as busy as Rome. Yeah, but pretty damn busy.
Oh yeah.
They decided they wanted to go to Tuscany. They wanted to go and try wines in the Chianti region or whatever. And so I was the only one with international driving experience. So I think 14 happy Italians pile into this freaking panel van. And it's a standard panel van.
Everything's standard over there.
So now I've got a standard panel van trying to drive that thing in Florence traffic. You should have seen me. I mean, it was like a delivery truck we're driving. It was insanity. And I'm like, you know what? In this case, I'm gonna adopt a Texas driving standard. The bigger truck wins. Yeah. Like, I don't care what you do in your Fiat, your moped, whatever you're driving. I'm gonna run your ass over. I'm going around this turn and I'm taking that exit.
And I think that's the mindset over there. And Florence is awesome, by the way.
Yeah.
I was blown. I thought it was really cool going across that bridge where all the shops are on it.
Oh yeah.
It's like
that's been there since like 1200.
I know. It's like going through the Diamond District in New York. You're just going through the Gold District across that bridge in Florence.
Well, I literally get this. So we rent this car. And the guy gives me a map, and he goes, outlines everything. He goes, okay, everything in here, you can't drive here. I'm like, how the hell am I going to get around this city? Because they have certain parts of the city that you're not allowed in. Yep. Because you have to have a certain permit.
We learned that on this trip because the guy that was driving us around, he only had a permit to drop us off at the airport.
That's wild.
And and we were like, oh, well, we're not ready to leave yet. And we had like, I don't know, there was like 6 hours before our flight. And we're like, oh, hey, we're going to go tour Florence for 6 hours. Well, we had nowhere to check our luggage. Yeah. So I paid this guy to put all our luggage back into the van and him just go sit in the parking lot. And he's like, I can't. I don't have a permit for this. I'm like, well, go get a permit if you have to. He's like, I can't. I said, then drive around and come back. And he actually got a ticket for not having the right permit when he came back. Wow. And we covered it. But it was just real interesting you said that because, just all the different rules that they have on doing stuff. I'm like, it's crazy.
My favorite scene, though, and you were in Barcelona, and we're about to head to Barcelona. I was there. There is a roundabout. I believe it's 6 to 8 lanes. And it's around this big statue. Yep. And I was in this thing, and it was like National Lampoon's European Vacation. Yeah. Hey kids, look, Big Ben.
that was a running joke the entire time we were there.
Yeah. So we're in this, and I'm in this little I don't even know what I was in. It was some little European car. And first off, I didn't even know how to get into first gear. Apparently, you had to push down and go into first gear because normally it's push down, go into reverse. Right. But it's push down, go into first gear. So everywhere I was going for the first 6 days I had this rental car, I was redlining and popping, and the second is burning out. Which was ridiculous. And then I figured out how to do it. But anyway, so we're in this roundabout, and this little Spanish girl on this moped comes by. Her dry cleaning is hanging off the windshield, and she has a Yorkshire Terrier with her, and she's smoking a cigarette and driving with one hand. And like, I'm like, this is crazy. I don't know how these people do it over here.
Dude, those moped people are the ballsiest people I've ever seen. I'm like, people that ride motorcycles around here need to go over there and learn how to ride and then come here and ride motorcycles because that whole deal over there is a whole different world. They go in and out. They cut people. They just do shit I've never seen.
Yep.
It's insane.
Sounds like Asia.
Yeah, probably.
I got more experience over there than you, but yeah.
But
I'm saying, whoa. I don't want to hear about the Thai boys town.
That's a whole different podcast.
Look, just 'cause I was in the Navy. All right.
Damn Navy.
But well, and we got to circle back in and get on to talking about what obviously this is about. But you got to take a break no matter what. And find out what that true break is. And, and I look forward to hearing like when you get over there. We ran into a couple of people over there. I think we were in Spain. But I forget where in Spain we were. We may have been in Madrid. And they work completely remote. They're U.S. citizens.
Yep.
Yeah.
But they're over there 6 months at a time.
It's a digital nomad visa.
Yeah. And so they're over there and they're living life. They were going to some big festival that night and they're like, yeah, we're not doing much tomorrow. And I said, I bet not. But they were going through and they did everything remote, all their calls, everything they did. And I was like, man, what a strange, and they're in their 20s, so I can't relate to that. But, it's just a whole different mindset. And it made me think of that burnout thing though, about where you're talking about you're doing your job and going to a different place to be able to do the same job. That may be big time of what helps them not burn out at the same time.
Well, for me, all I did is adjust my conference calls.
Yeah.
So we're +7. So instead of having one at 3 o'clock, which would be 10 o'clock my time, we bumped that thing back. And what's nice is I could send an email at the end of my day and it's the beginning of my team's day.
Yeah.
So as long as you get 24 hours ahead, you get the whole day with your family. I get to go to the gym. I get to go have lunch with my kid. I get to go explore the city with my kid. And then, as far as having the kid and work and balance, I'm going to take 4 hours and for myself and be able to do my job. And then I'm going to have Natalie's going to take the next shift with Jack, and we're going to flip back and forth. But then at the end of the day, we're able to jump in. We're going to spend an hour at the end of the day, check in on our emails because that's what yesterday's work produced.
Yeah.
And you just have to play the lag. And I think it's just going to be, it is an experiment to see. But if you could actually work abroad and just get out of your day-to-day here, sometime I'm really thinking it's going to be the hard reset that I've needed for the longest time because it's hard for me to disconnect. And I'm sure it's for you. I'm sure it's for you. But that 7-hour gap when nighttime hits or when your team's asleep is a forced reset.
Yeah.
Here it's not a forced reset because we're all on the same schedule.
Yeah.
But over there, it's you're slamming that reset button.
Well, and I know for me, the moment I could have a day where, okay, hey, I'm going into the office. I'm only going to be here for a couple hours. I've got other meetings that are elsewhere and that. Well, it ends up being the hardest couple of hours there is because once you're in it, it's so hard to get back out of it. And when I walk into that office, that's when everything just starts coming in. Everybody's like, oh, I got access right now. He's here.
Absolutely.
And then you're sitting there, whether it's putting out fires or whether it's, making fires.
Yeah.
And,
I feel like that's half my job.
Very valid.
Yeah. I got to balance it out.
Yeah.
If somebody's lighting a fire on me, that just means somebody else is getting a fire lit on them.
Yeah.
But getting back out of that is a hard thing. So that like you're saying, being able to work remote and do that, and you've separated yourself from, somebody coming in and interrupting that, and you're able to set the terms of what time somebody's going to have access to you. That's real big in a situation because you don't get that at home.
Yeah. Sorry. Let me just.
No, I was just going to say, I think it's important exactly what you guys are talking about. You can only stay and fight for so long. Same thing in the military. A dude cannot fight constantly for 3 or 4 days. I mean, even an hour firefight and you're freaking exhausted. It might be slow motion, but you're exhausted. If you don't have that reset and pull, you're not going to be operating optimally. You're going to make mistakes and you're going to slip. And that's why you have to have that reset. And like you said, Andy, and like you said, John, being able to realize when that's happening, when that burnout's happening is so critical. And the way that you are being very intelligent and precise with how you're executing this, I mean, it's what you need. And recognizing that you needing that and setting that up is huge. Because if you're just constantly in fight, you're going to eventually crumble. You're going to make a mistake. In combat, somebody's going to get hurt. You're going to get hurt. And here it's the same thing. You're going to hurt yourself, your business, or somebody around you because you're not going to at some point going to be able to emotionally, mentally, and even at that point physically take on what you have to take on to be an effective leader. You're going to crumble.
And what I'm going to say is if you are on your phone and the algorithm is telling you you're seeing the David Goggins, you're seeing the Talent Smith Fitness over here always working out, right? Jeez. I mean, hell, I laid down the other day, you and Zach were up 1 a.m. rowing at your gym. I'm like,
it's not wrong.
Yeah, exactly. But no, I mean, you have to recognize though that David Goggins doesn't post about the times he's hurting. Cameron Haynes doesn't post about the times he's recovering. Actually, it was really interesting after he finished the Cocodona 250. his son came in and was filming him, and he was talking about how out of it he was. And I was like, that was the first time I saw some vulnerability there. People don't post vulnerability on social media. Nobody gets extra likes and extra thumbs ups for that. So if you're scrolling and all you're seeing is this stuff, realize these people are hurting as well. Everybody hurts. Like, you've told me this in races, but they're not going to show it, right?
No,
And
absolutely.
so don't fall victim to the whole, oh, this guy's doing more than I am. Because at the end of the day, at some point during the day, he's hurting.
Oh, absolutely. They're hurting. And I just sent an email out to my team who's going to Worlds. And I said, remember, when you're on the course, like, everybody is hurting just as bad as you. It's like, are you going to give into it, or are you going to keep pushing? And this is very specific to the race. Before our conversation, absolutely, there's so many people out there who are hurting. And the thing is they're not saying anything. I'm fortunate because I have you guys, and you guys talked about the support system, which is huge. And one thing I'll say is, if you have a very supportive spouse or significant other, that's great. But like, as guys specifically, and even girls specifically, you need somebody who you can talk to who is not your spouse to be able to come in there and support you, and to, give some knowledge and wisdom on what's going on. And we're fortunate to be able to have that.
Yeah, absolutely. You can't always go to the spouse to, because that's that part of, go back to the, like you talking about crying or something like that. I always want Jamie to think I'm out front. I'm bulletproof.
Absolutely.
I'm not going back to her going, man, I'm just, today I'm just not there, babe. I'm down. I don't, I'm not.
But you should be able to do that. I think
I should be able to do it, but I just don't have that one. I want that feeling of, she's looking at me, that no matter what, he's going to be sitting out front.
Well, I think that you can, though. I mean, getting to know you and Jamie better, I know that you can do that with her, but I understand your decision because, like you said, you want to be that leader, just like you are to your company. And as a leader, there is an importance of showing a level of vulnerability, but you also want to be that person that your team's going to come to and know that you're not going to falter. And that's part of the pressure that can also lead to burnout, because you're that one person they're going to go to, and you have to have the answers. Sometimes there's not, well, you can tell them to figure it out. But when it comes down to it, when metal meets the meat and they need an answer, like, you have to be ready, capable, and able to do that and lead your team.
Well, and that's what burnout causes.
Absolutely.
It causes those problems. You're not making good decisions. Your leadership style may be a little broken from it because you're in the middle of that burnout. Your mindset's not in the right place. And, so let's talk about some of those things then. What feeds to keeping you from going into burnout? Not so much, hey, here are the signs of the burnout, but is it proper sleep? Is it eating right? Is it going to the gym and working out? Is it, taking that break? What is that true step to be able to go through it? Because, you want to get away from those irrational decisions, that feeling numb, because I know good and well and that's one of those signs I know for myself, when I just get that numb feeling to where I'm just like, man, nothing really is getting me motivated right now. I know I'm on that precipice of a burnout.
Yeah, I have a quick answer for that, and I kind of figured it out more recently. I want to say within the last year. You have to find 1 hour, 45 minutes to an hour a day where you do something that's for you. Mm-hmm. And that might be reading your book. For me, obviously, that's working out. Like, that's just my thing. But you have to find something a day, 1 hour for yourself. And that gives me enough mental break throughout the day where I get to work on myself, and I'm not working on the business's problems. I'm not working on the problems with my family. I'm working on me, and I'm going to enjoy that 45 minutes to an hour. And when I'm able to find that small piece of time, I know that at least today I got something that I did for myself for 1 hour that I got to just relax and be like, I'm good. And that's that like I said, 1 hour a day mental reset. And it's worked really well so far. And I think that's why, like I told you, I'm constantly in fight. But at the same time, like, adding that hour in per day just brings me down a little bit, where I can go back and be like, okay, cool. Wake up the next morning. Let's go. Because I know that I have something to look forward to that day. That's going to be that hour for me in the gym that nobody can take away from me.
Well, and that's that, you got to have a point of recovery. Yours may be doing more work.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
But
nothing about this.
Yeah.
I adopted this idea from him. Let me tell you, nothing solidifies burnout by looking at your wall ball numbers and going, I suck. I need to do more. And then, as per this whole obsession required, this guy decides he wants to turn L3 High Rocks into a competitive High Rocks team with sponsorships, and now he wants to turn it into a business. I'm like, oh shit.
Well, that's what we're here for.
That's what we're here
Yeah,
for.
I
What-
know.
what
Like,
part of this
my
deal-
one thing now turned into a damn business model. Like, what?
That's the whole goal of this is how are we raising each one of our businesses, and now we've warped him enough that he's like, oh man, I can do these things.
Absolutely.
I can turn this into the best high rocks team there is in the country.
I know.
Well,
but
yeah, and that comes down to having the team behind you guys, though, right? And this is what we talk about with this group is like you have to have people around you who are going to constantly level you up in situations like this where I do get to come in and decompress. I don't get to have these hard conversations with just everybody, nor do I want to have them. But this is a point of like recovery and reset to come in here and listen to you guys talk about the challenges you face, about how you guys are handling burnout, about what you guys are doing, and that just elevates you. And these are the conversations that, fight off burnout, in my opinion.
Well, and like, so for me, like you go to the gym. Mine is when I cold plunge. I cold plunge every day. I hit my 365. That's amazing. Made my 365 number, and I'm still doing it. And but that's where my reset is. I sit in there. I've got my earbuds in. I'm listening to something motivational. Or I'm listening to something that I'm just sitting there banging my head. But usually I've gotten to where now I've got one specific deal I listen to. It's about an 8-minute long motivational thing, and I just sit and listen to that. And I completely get immersed in that what's being said to me, and I just reset my mind. And and then I'm able to go into the day, no matter what, at a good, calm state of mind. And
I feel like we listen to different things. I've been running and listening to Gates of Fire, which is about the Spartans at Thermopylae, and being like, "Man, you're a slow bitch. Like, get back to work and start fighting."
Are you talking about the 300?
Yeah. So the Gates of Fire by Stephen Pressfield is actually what they made the movie 300 off of. Mm-hmm. It's an audiobook, so I get on the treadmill and I listen about these Spartans like battling and stuff, and I'm like, all right, cool.
I can do this.
I can do this.
Yeah.
Give me a spear that's 40 pounds and some armor. Let's go.
Yeah.
Well,
that's my hour to myself. That's my hour.
I think I wouldn't say I'm completely opposite, but I just unplug. Like I put on bad music on my headphones. Like
define bad music. Hold on.
No, like just like EDM mixed with pop, like these mashups.
Britney Spears.
I
don't care if it's Britney Spears,
like
Lady Gaga. I don't care what it is. I cannot have intense music. Like I can't have screamo, my normal metal. Yeah. I literally just put on something that kind of puts me into a trance. I'd go like the best reset for me is like a zone 2, low heart rate, slow pace run.
I don't know why you said slow pace and looked at me.
Get out of here. No, one of those kind of deals. But no, I think the most important thing is, it's getting a little Freudian here, but like self-actualization and realizing.
Say that word again.
What? I had trouble saying it. Now you're asking me to say the word self-actualization, which means like realizing like who you are and where your shortcomings are. I think a lot of people feel burnout, but they don't even know they're hitting burnout. What? And because they're and they like
actualization.
Actualization. Am I saying it wrong?
Yeah, you're saying it wrong.
Yeah,
I wouldn't bring it up
like
a
that
second time, but I just
this is why I didn't want you to ask me to repeat it.
Actualization, like self-actualization.
Self-actualization.
There you
go.
Okay.
English class.
Anyway, well, it's a tongue twister. Anyway, but the long story of it is actually realizing what's going on. I think a lot of people don't even realize they're hitting burnout, and they don't know why they're reacting the way they are. And they may like, oh, I'm spontaneously crying. I need to check into a shrink, or maybe I need to turn to alcohol to get away from this, or drugs, or whatever. And I would say a lot of people have not hit that realization of really what in the world is really going on. And then like the reason I don't listen to motivational stuff while I'm cold plunging, right? First off, I'm fighting the cold plunge. Second off, now I'm listening to somebody telling me how to be better. I'm thinking about business, or like you and competing. Like I can't do that, because then I'm like trying to one up my last time, or worrying about competitors, that kind of stuff. So just like for me, it's just unplugging and mindless, like watching Family Guy, reruns of Beavis and Butthead, something just so mindless that I'm not thinking. I just don't want to think for 45 minutes.
Yeah, and but for everybody, it's going to be different. So Absolutely. If I was sitting here saying, "Hey, you have to do this, 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 and this," it's impossible. No, everybody's got to have their own. They've got to find it in their self. But they've got the biggest thing. Like I said at the beginning of this, recognizing that you 100%. Have it.
Yeah.
You know, knowing that, hey, man, I'm making some poor decisions. I'm not feeling as motivated as I was. I'm tired, you know, and getting through those things. And instead of sitting there thinking, man, I'm on this grind and I'm grinding and grinding. Are you really grinding or are you making progress?
Yeah.
You know, and if you're not making progress, then you need to think I may be in some fashion of burnout.
Well, right, and back to grind culture. Let's think about grinding. Is anything about grinding good? Grinding your teeth, grinding brakes, all of that, what that's going to lead to is eventual breakdown, right? Yeah. And so we use grind, like stay on the grind. I'm not sure where exactly that slang came from, but there's nothing good about grinding. How about like flowing, you know, whatever.
I don't know.
Let's go back
John.
to
Let's.
You know what I mean? Is there at least a better word? Half it's the word problem. Think about it. Yeah. There's nothing. Man, I was driving down the road and my tires are grinding. Like that's not good. That's friction. That's eventual breakdown.
That song Bump and Grind.
Yeah, I know. I was going to say the same thing. I'm like, man.
No, I'm saying the flow. Like you flow through a workout. You flow through a meditation. You flow through your day.
Yeah.
You know, like non-restrictive flowing maybe instead of grinding.
Yes.
That's not good.
You know, and it is. It's not. So and that's the question. You know, hey, how do you get away from it? Let's pause. Let's get our you know, like I said, it's all about getting back to that focus. Mm-hmm. You know, I have to have that mindset right at all times, because no matter what, as leaders, we don't have time for our people to see anything different. You know, they don't get to see us in burnout. And that's what we have to avoid, because, you know, I always look at it this way. When a customer calls in, let's say I'm burned out and a customer calls in, I answer the phone. I'm just like, yeah, what's going on? Yeah, okay. Yep. No big deal. All right. I'm not interested in taking care of that problem. Now I haven't serviced my customer the way it is, but my customer's not asking the question, hey man, what's wrong with Andy today? He sounds a little off. They don't give a shit.
Yeah.
They want the service they deserve. So what do I have to do? I have to make sure that I'm always elevated here. Mm-hmm. So working on keeping myself from being burned out means I answer the phone. Hey, Bob, what's going on? Oh, absolutely. I'm going to get this taken care of for you. Sorry that we had a problem there. We'll have one of my team members reach out to you and we will get this corrected immediately. That's on us. Mm-hmm. You know, your team has to see that, though. Yeah. They have to see you coming in, because if they see you like that, leading from that front that way all the time, they're constantly going to try and portray themselves in that same light. Mm-hmm. So that's why we have to recognize burnout all the time to make sure that we stay elevated. Yeah, you know, I got a little 100%. Mixed up in there.
No, absolutely. I feel like that's 100% on point. You know, like your team's going to carry themselves and act accordingly, just how you do. So you're going to emulate, or so they're going to emulate what you do.
Yeah.
And
emulate.
Period. Huh?
Emulate.
Emulate. That's what I said.
You said emulate.
What? We're going to have an enunciation class at the end of this one.
What is going on? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, but seriously, grind out. Geez, burnout is a real thing, man. And I think realizing you have a problem, just like the old joke, the first step is admitting you have a problem, understanding those signs, realizing what works for you, and I think really renaming, and like I think words matter, right? Like grind culture is not cool. You know, success culture is, but grinding truly is going to lead to a breakdown. And I think that's the biggest message of this pod, is just knowing that you have a problem, addressing and knowing what the symptoms look like, having a reset button, and just not not getting back into that same flow where you're just going to end up burned out. You know, you got to avoid that stuff. Well, that's key to success.
I love what you said, Andy. You said about how people won't be making progress. A lot of people sometimes will confuse movement for progress.
Yeah.
They're doing things, but they're going through the motions.
Yep.
And that's where, if you're doing something and going through the motions and it's not producing an ROI, or there's nothing that's coming from it, you might be burnt out.
Yeah.
You might feel like you're moving, like, oh, things are getting done, but nothing's actually getting done. You're not making progress. And that's a great point for somebody to be like, hey, I need to step back, because all this work I'm doing is going nowhere. Why? Because you're mentally exhausted and you're not capable of thinking how you need to think to actually take your business or take whatever you're trying to accomplish to that next level.
Your brain's running in quicksand.
100%.
Well, it's like I think he was referring to this in a different manner, but it's like Jocko in Extreme Ownership talks about stepping back off the firing line. When you're on the fire, yeah, it's a great book. When you're on that firing line and you're grinding, if you don't take a step back, you also can't see what your team is doing wrong.
100%.
Like, redirect that line of fire somewhere else. Or is your competitor moving? Is your enemy moving? You're not going to see that as long as you're tunnel vision. So that's another problem with burnout. You get tunnel vision too. Like when at the end of a race, dude, all you're focused on is that finish line.
I wish I had the picture from Chicago.
Yeah, from Chicago. No, that is a prime example. I was so smoked by the end of that race. Tunnel vision was true. Yeah. I was talking the whole end of the last 5-10 minutes of that race. I was watching that tunnel come in, and I was like doing all I could
to not meet Jesus.
Yeah, to not meet Jesus. But the minute I hit that finish line, the next thing I know is he was waking me up with a titty twister and dumping water on me, and I had been talking to Jesus for 5 minutes.
That's a solid recovery tactic, by the way.
Yeah,
titty twisters and water.
Yeah,
that's how you recover.
But that is like
different.
that tunnel vision, man. Yeah. And at the end, and what ended up happening, I was on the ground. That's a great analogy.
100%. It's very true. You're going so hard for so long that you're just right there, and the next thing you know, like you said, man, then you're on the ground. And you're like, how did I get here? Yeah. And there were signs along the way that was going to happen.
Yep.
You just didn't recognize them.
I recognized them.
Talon,
slow down, Talon. Get back here.
All you had to do is do a few checkups.
Yeah.
Well,
to keep that from happening.
Absolutely.
Not in that instance, it's not.
You would expect your teammate to check in on you. How are you feeling, John? That cramp.
Well, you told me how you were doing, and I said, "Shut up, keep moving."
Yeah, you did say that.
Well, came back to that being a bitch.
What happened about being a good partner?
But it's going through and having those checkups though of knowing, okay, here, all I need is a little break. I'm not talking about stopping. I'm just talking about taking a step back.
Absolutely.
Opening that tunnel vision back up to where you see the playing field and seeing everything that's back around you. Yeah. And I always relate it back to, finding my why again, because when you do get burned out, like I said earlier, you got to focus back to find that true north. Well, that true north is actually your why.
Yeah.
Yep.
And when you step back, you're like, oh, this is why I'm doing this. This is why right here. And now I understand it again. Now I can get back in the game.
Yeah, 100%.
Well, I think that's good, man. This has been a good pod.
So, make sure you don't burn out.
I'm trying not to.
Well, we know you're not gonna.
What does that even mean?
You're going to do yoga and listen to WAP. That's exactly what you're going to do.
Wham.
Never mind.
Oh, boy.
Don't Google
All
that,
right,
please.
that's the pod.
Don't Google that.
Guys, thanks for enjoying this episode. We'll be back in a week, man. And maybe if John's back from Spain, we'll get some Spain stories and Italy stuff from him on his trip. So thank you, guys.
Yep.